Hello, welcome to The Wandering Drew. I am Drew. On today's episode, I'd like to do a breakdown of my gear that I'm going to be taking on my upcoming hike. And that hike is the Alabama portion of the Pinhoti Trail. I am going to do the complete Alabama portion of the trail and a little bit further into Georgia until I come to Cave Springs, Georgia. And from there, I will get off the trail because I have to return to work and I don't have enough time to do a true through hike of the Pinhoti Trail. I've decided to forego using my Z-Packs pack, the Arc Blast, that I usually carry, which is much lighter, but it does have a weight limit of around 25 pounds. And being that I'm going to be well over 25 pounds, I felt that I should go with a larger, beefier pack that is made to carry a larger weight allowance. So I went with my pack that I've had for the last several years, and this is the Osprey Volt 60. It's an older version of that pack. They do have newer ones with the AG, I think the anti-gravity frame. This is an older version. I have this, I think, since 2013 or 2015, something like that. So it's probably about 5 to 6 years old, maybe even 7. I'd have to look back to see when I purchased it. But it's been on several hikes with me before until I bought the Arc Blast basically a little over a year and a half ago. Or a year ago. So the Arc Blast, this did not make my first Foothills Trail hike. I tried a larger pack, a 75 liter one, which was a good pack, but just too big. And I went then to the downsizing of the weight. So while this pack is pretty heavy at like three pounds or so, a little over 3 pounds in weight compared to the 1.5 pounds that the Arc Blast is. But it does have more room. And I do like the pockets that it has, and that's a function that I really miss in the Arc Blast, is having all these little pockets. So just because, once you get in a routine of putting stuff in certain places, you like to know where it is, and it's easy to compartmentalize, so you just have to adapt to it, and it's something to get used to. The biggest decision that I haven't come up with is what shoes or boots I'm going to wear on the trail. First, I did just get a brand new pair of Salmons. They just came like about 2-3 days ago. These are the Cross Hike Mid. I actually went with a Gore-Tex one, which I've never bought before because I am worried about the cold and the weather and getting wet. So I haven't even worn them yet. You can see I opened them just to look at them, but they're Gore-Tex, so I'm a little worried about sweating or getting hot in them. But I'm thinking maybe for the winter, these might be the things to do. I don't know if it's going to be rainy. I don't know if it's going to be snowy. I don't know how the trail is going to be. And I think they might keep my feet a little bit warmer, which is usually a problem in really cold weather. Although I'm figuring the weather will be like 30s and 40s during the day, dropping down to maybe 20s at night. I just don't know. Too far out. But I'm less than 2 weeks away, or 2.5 weeks away. I'm filming this right before Christmas. Just because I got my gear together last night, and I figured let me do this and go through it. It also helps me with the process of making sure I didn't leave anything behind. So I'm going to just start unpacking. I'm going to start in the outside pocket first, and I'll go through some of my gear. So in the outside pocket, I generally have stuff that I think I'm going to need during the day or may want during the day. So my rain jacket, this is, I've taken it on a couple of trips. I've only worn it once or twice. And this is my Outdoor Research Helium 2 rain jacket. It's very, very light, extremely light. It's over 8 or 10 ounces lighter than the one I had before, which I actually like. It feels better and it's more comfortable, and it did have pit zips. This doesn't, but I've worn this once or twice. It doesn't feel bad, but I haven't worn it in really hot weather or rainy weather where it's really damp and muggy outside. And I use it actually to block the wind more sometimes than the rain. So, but it's just a light jacket that'll give you some wind protection and hopefully some rain protection. So I'll be bringing this as well. The other thing I keep my Katadyn Be Free filter out here. One of the things I'll have to do is keep this close to my body due to the cold temperatures. So this will probably be in my pocket. I put it in a plastic bag so that if it's wet, it doesn't leak on me, and it stays in the bag, and it'll keep warm, hopefully, in a pocket of mine while I'm hiking. I'll have to keep this close. One thing with any hollow membrane filters, you cannot keep them or let them get cold, especially if they have had water in them. Once they've been used, the water in the filter will expand as it freezes, damaging the fibers, and it will no longer offer you protection from any nasty germs out there and bugs. So you definitely want to keep that warm. And I've used this filter many times. I really like it. It's got a good flow rate, and it's a gravity filter, so I don't have to work hard to get the water. So I'll be taking that again as usual. And it does have a 3-liter bag with it that if I need to, I can fill that bag up and carry it with me. I can either clip it onto the pack. I've worn it around my neck actually on a hike, or I've put it in my pack, and it carries an extra 3 liters. So if I'm coming to a particularly dry section, I can carry that as well. The only bad thing is obviously the weight. You're talking about 6.5 pounds of weight if you carry 3 liters, and it does slosh around a little bit, so that's a problem. This is the rain cover. Because this is not waterproof, it's just a little, it sheens off a little bit, but if it rains, this is going to get wet, and it's going to get everything inside wet. So I will have a rain cover that I'll have to put on if it's going to rain, which will cause me to stop and slow down, but it is what it is, as opposed to the Arc Blast, which is water resistant. And that's pretty much all I have out here. The only other thing I'll probably add out there is maybe this Kodak tripod, which I seem to have been bringing the last couple of times. I like it because it is convenient to videotape or record myself if I want to, rather than holding. I'm going to be using my phone. I'm taking my Samsung Galaxy, I think this is an S20, or it's Samsung S20. That's what it is, no Galaxy. And it's, rather than holding it like this, it makes it easier if it has a bracket to hold it. So it's much, much easier to, spin around and show you what I'm doing. So I like having this, and if I want to take a, like a B-roll or a video of me going, or even a time lapse or a nice shot of myself that's stable and not shaking from me holding it, I can set this up, and it does collapse. So that's a good thing. And I have an adapter that I have, that's a tripod adapter, so I can use the phone inside its case, because it is so large and heavy. That's usually a problem. So I'll probably be bringing this. The last trip, it did kind of break on me, not break a little bit, but it did come loose. This ring seems to have loosened up, but it seems to have, I snapped it back in, and it seems to be working. So it's not really, really heavy, but I find it useful, and it's nice to have a tripod. I use it a couple of times. I think it's worth carrying with the extra weight. It's not that heavy. I forgot the actual weight. I'll try and edit as a text on the weight on this, but it's really nominal compared to what else I'm carrying. And for the couple of times I've used it, I found it to be worthwhile. Sadly, I had a stick pick, which is what I usually put on my trekking poles. And I know I came back from my Ocala trip with it, and when I shot another video about taking care of your equipment, I can't seem to find it. So I don't know if I dropped it, if it got lost in my yard when I was doing, setting up my tent and everything else to dry it out and air it out, or if it's just caught into another piece of equipment, because it is so tiny. Unfortunately, they stopped making that stick pick. They're no longer making it because the developer of it is coming out with a new design, which won't be out until late January or January of 2021. So I cannot order a new one in order to take it with me on the trip. So I'm going to have to do without it. So that's why this is also coming with me. I'm going to take for the first time an MP3 player. I bought a small digital MP3 player because I've been listening to podcasts the last couple of times, and I actually find that I like that, or music. So by bringing an MP3 player, it will save battery on my phone rather than letting my phone continue to used for podcasts. I can use this, and this one gets about 80 hours of battery power from one charge. So it's very efficient, and I'll use that along with a pair of headphones, which double for my microphone when I'm recording on my phone. I have a USB-C adapter to it, so I can use that. So that's it. Other things I'm taking electronic-wise are just a bunch and bag of miscellaneous cables. I know most people show this at the end, but because I had it out, because I just put it together, that's it. So let me go into the rest of things. Starting at the top, or the brain as they call it, I have some miscellaneous equipment. I have my potty kit, which I normally would keep out here, and I may do that just to keep it dry and compact. I put it in here, but more than likely it'll be out here so I can just grab it when I drop my pack, go off in the woods, do my business, and come back. Usually I take my pack with me though, honestly, so that's not really a concern. I'm gonna bring a new buff this time. I have a winter buff. I bought this about 2 years ago. I've never really worn it. It's a little heavier weight for the winter. So I'm hoping to use this and it'll keep my neck and my, sometimes even my head warm if I pull it over. I'm also bringing a buff cap, and I'll probably use this more to sleep in or just in the morning just to keep my head warm. I don't like wearing a hat, really. Baseball caps and stuff, I never wear those. I feel they don't look good on me and I don't like the way they feel. If anything, I'm going to wear a wide brimmed hat, something that protects my face and my neck from sun and sunburn and damage. And on this thing, I'm not expecting to be having a lot of green tunnel because it's winter, so I may indeed bring a hat still. I'll see. If not, I'll bring this, and with the buff covering my neck, I think I'll be good. So that's it. One of the other concerns I have in the last trip, in the morning it's chilly, it's wet, so I'm going to bring a pair of gloves. I happen to have these gloves. I bought these on clearance about a year ago. I've never used them yet. As a matter of fact, I just took them out of the packaging. So I'm going to try and bring these with me so I can keep warm. And if it's raining and wet, I bought a pair of gloves that go over them that are waterproof. Additionally, these are mittens actually, so they go over the gloves. Although these are kind of thick, I don't know if they'll fit very well. It'll probably be bulky. But more importantly, they'll stop wind and rain from getting on my hands and getting them cold. So I'll probably use them more as like a wind or a light layer just to keep my hands warm as I hike, because I do have trekking poles. I can put them away if I want, but you can't keep your hands warm generally if they're outside. And if it's really particularly cold or if it's raining and your hands get wet, generally you're not going to be able to warm them up, keep them dry. So I decided that's good protection. I have my Sea to Summit spork that I'll take with me, and this is my first aid kit. I've redone it a little bit. I do have 2 EpiPens that I carry, which are probably the bulk. This new design is about 30 grams lighter, so good for that. I did pack up some more stuff, and I'll probably add a couple more things just last minute. But I restocked up. I used all my bandages, and the only other thing I'm bringing is KT tape, which I bring all the time. I'm a big proponent of KT tape. I tape my feet up every day. It has prevented me from getting blisters for the last 3 years or so. I did get a blister on my last Ocala trip. I think it was because I wore my nighttime socks during the day and they got wet. Those are wigwam socks. I find those very, very slippery, and I don't like them. But I did not get a blister where I normally would get them. For me, it's in the feet, the bottom of the feet, like the ball. That's where I tend to usually get them. This one was on the back of the foot toward the heel, which is a very common place for a lot of people. And there's a lot of friction there. And I think it was just those socks. I switched to my other socks, and I never had a problem the rest of the hike. So one of the things I'm doing differently this time is I purchased pre-cut KT tape because I have to cut it in the morning. So this is a piece of, they're in like a 3.5 inch long section, so I can basically just put them across the bottom of my foot. Over the ball of feet, I usually put 2 layers, one right by the toes and then one further back, so it protects the ball of my feet, and that seems to be enough for me, and I generally don't get any blisters. I'm also bringing about 8 or 10 feet of regular KT tape that's in a strip, uncut, so if I do get a problem like on my heel or somewhere else, I have extra that I can actually use to cover those areas that are a problem. So we'll see how that works out. So the only other thing in here, I'm also adding, these are wind pants. This is a recent purchase. I have not used them yet. And if it's really windy or on a day maybe where I'm cold and I'm having an issue with the wind, then I will use these. These are Outdoor Research. I don't remember if these are helium, also helium pants, or they have one that's called copper something, and I can't remember which ones I purchased, to be honest with you. So, but I'll be bringing these, and they're very light. They're like 6 ounces or something, maybe even less than that. And I'll be taking these with me as well. I won't wear them unless it's actually raining consistently, and I want to keep, because most of the time when it rains, I would just get wet. I don't really mind. but that's good when it's warm. But when it's cold or 20 or 30 degrees, or even if it's warmer, but if you can't dry out by nighttime, that's a problem because the temperature will drop and you have to worry about it being cold and hypothermia. So the wind pants or rain pants will help protect you from that, and it will allow me to keep dry underneath so I can take the pants off and my clothes are dry. So if I need to wear them in my sleeping bag at night or even just take them out, at least when I put them on the next morning, they're not going to be wet. And that's a major problem with trying to keep warm. Wet clothes steal you of heat very rapidly. So that's it for this thing. Oh, wait, one more thing. A little extra stuff I have. I have some soap. I have an extra lighter just in case I have a problem lighting my stove. I do have some tenacious tape in case something rips or breaks and I have to tape it. I have some hand sanitizer, and I think that's it for this. And some salt tablets along with a needle and thread. And I just have another cloth to clean lenses, which I noticed last time I was lacking. I didn't have enough, or my glasses. So that's what I'll take this for. And I have like 2 or 3 of these that I'm carrying. They're less than an ounce a piece, and I'll have it. So that's it for the brain with the top, on the outside. As I open up the pack, on the inside, I have some stickers I'm going to be carrying in case I run into anybody. I'm going to try to give away some stickers or put them in a logbook. And I have a small little camp towel, just good for my hands to wipe off. It's like a bandana. It's a little bit thicker and heavier. It's got a softer feel to it. And I use this sometimes even if I have to wipe down my tent, if there's dew or moisture on it, and I don't want to use a bandana, I might use this. So I may leave that behind. It's an ounce or so, but it's not a big deal. So that's it for the brain that I'm taking. Going into the main compartments, I have nothing on the side yet. I haven't put anything in here. Anything that I put in the side will generally be water bottles, probably 2 water bottles. And these are really deep pockets, so even a liter bottle will stay in here and not fall out. So that's one of the things I like about it. So I'm just going to go into the main compartment where I have everything else. Going into here, I have my brand new fleece that I purchased basically a couple of weeks ago. It's a Patagonia fleece. It's a large size. It's a pullover. It's not a zippered all the way down. I'm going to try this. It's really, really light. It's about several ounces lighter than my last fleece, which weighs almost a pound. I think this is like 8 ounces. And it's very, very light. It does look see-through, but I have worn it in some cooler weather down to the 60s and 50s. And I think while I'm hiking, it allows you to vent. The moisture gets through and you don't build up that heat. If it's really, really cold or really windy, this is not going to be enough. And I will have to go to a larger jacket or warmer jacket. And for that, I'm bringing my new Montbell puff that I purchased and have not worn out yet. I have an episode that I recorded. I have a lot of episodes I recorded, but since I went hiking, I'd rather show those than over equipment episodes. So a lot of these are, recorded and they'll be coming out shortly. But I did upgrade to a Montbell jacket, and I'm hoping to take this with me. And I figure this will keep me warm in the cold weather. So this is like my puffy. I'll be taking my Z-Packs duplex tent, as I always do. Love this tent. It has the stakes in there. I think I have 8 stakes in here. So it's all self-contained, very, very light. I like the extra room. I can bring my gear in so it can explode. Basically, it looks like my pack exploded in the tent all the time, or vomited, as I say sometimes. Just everything, I don't know how, everything just seems to end up coming out, especially in the Z-Packs tent because you only have that one way in and out. This does have a zipper in the front, but if I put a liner in here, I probably will keep it everything just in one bag just to keep it wet. So I'm on the fence about this. This is my food bag. It's a Z-Pack food bag. It's quite heavy. It's weighing like 8.5 pounds already. I was debating about adding more food, but I think I'm going to skip on that. Oh wait, I think this is my, that's the liner. So this is my Z-Pack food bag. I have line in here along with cord, Z-line, that I can throw it up, a rock bag that I can throw so I can do a hang at night if I'm not somewhere that has a bear box in it. I'm not expecting bears to be a concern during the winter. In Alabama, there's not really a problem with bears in that area at all. They're not prevalent. And I'm not going to probably be staying at most established campsites, so I don't think that there'll be a problem with bears. I am worried about other animals, though. Those are really the things I worry about. Raccoons, squirrels, mice, all those things love to get into your food. If they smell your food, if it's in your pack, they will chew on it. So the best thing you can do is to hang it up. So I'm hoping this will suffice. It's pretty heavy. So hopefully as it goes on, it will get much lighter and easier for me to carry. And I have 2 legs. Basically, I'm looking at hike to Heflin and from Heflin to Cave Springs. So the hike to Heflin, I'm planning on 8 days at the max. I'm hoping to do it in 6 or so, or maybe 7, depends on how much. I don't know how I'm going to physically be able to do, because I don't feel like I'm in great shape, and I don't know how many miles I'm going to be able to do per day. So if in fact I'm not able to do 15 miles per day or 16 miles or 20, which might be a goal, but my goal is 15 miles a day is what I metered out, and that gives me 8 days to get there. So I'm hoping that'll work for me. I'm taking my Pocket Rocket 2 stove. You've seen me use this before and cook my food. There is no gas canister in here because gas is going to be a problem on this trip. I think in my planning episode I discussed there's not a reliable source of getting canister fuel at Heflin to resupply. They do have gas in one of the stores recently, but I checked a couple of weeks ago and they were out actually. And they ordered more, but because it's not something that they always have in stock, and I'm afraid that I'm going to maybe get there and they're out, and then what would I do for fuel? I decided I'm just going to have to plan on there being no fuel available. So I have decided on taking an extra large canister of fuel with me. So I went to REI the other day and I purchased 2 of these. I'm only going to carry 1. This is a 16-ounce canister of gas. So I figure this will last me the whole trip. So I generally only use it to make dinner. I don't cook during the day. I never cook breakfast and lunch. It's always cold. I want to hike. I want to get miles. I like to eat while I'm hiking or moving. So I don't like to waste time starting, to cook for breakfast. I don't usually make coffee when I'm on the trail. I just do without. I get my caffeine in other ways through snacks or other things. There's plenty of options nowadays. And if you really want coffee, you can even go cold coffee, which is an option. But I figure this will take me through the whole trip. I only need 8 dinners if I stay out for 8 days. It'll be 7 days because the 8th day I would expect to be back at Heflin. And then from there, I'm figuring maybe another 5 days at most to reach Cave Springs. So, you're not looking at more than, 12 to 13 dinners that I would have to boil water for. I plan on using reconstituted food, dehydrated food. And even if I wanted to make some soup or something like that, throw in the odd mix or hot chocolate, maybe you're talking about, 16 at the most. I don't even think it would be that much. But just to make sure I have enough fuel. So went a little long on that. Maybe I'll edit that out. That's probably too much. Other thing I'm bringing is my my Sea to Summit pillow. I like this. It's more comfortable sometimes than using clothes. Since I travel light, I don't always have enough clothes to stuff in there at night to make a pillow, and it helps me get a little better sleep. It weighs like 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces, I think, at most, so I generally carry it with me. Not very heavy. All these things add up, though. This is a little, just a stuff sack, and in it I just bought these the other day. These are socks that I'm going to wear. These are Smart Wool mountaineering socks in an extra large size, and I'm hoping to wear these to sleep in. If this doesn't work, a lot of times I do get cold feet. Even though I have a sleeping bag with a closed foot box in it that has no access, I still feel like my feet are cold sometimes, and I can still feel a little bit of a breeze if it's a little windy coming through there, I guess through the stitching, or just maybe it's psychological. But I'm going to try these socks because they're extra thick and made for mountaineering, so I'm hoping that they'll keep my feet warm. If this doesn't work, I'll probably be buying some goose down booties to keep me warm, like you've seen some other hikers have. I have Patagonia, basically undergarments, base layer, so long sleeve shirt and long pants that I can wear underneath my pants to hike in. I'll be wearing pants. If it's really cold, if I feel cold after the first day, I'll probably throw these on and wear them to hike with. Or I'll generally wear these at night to get out of my clothes, allow them to vent a little bit and dry out, and me to dry out. And I'll wear these to sleep in. If I need to, or it's really, really cold, I can always continue to wear my clothes that I hiked in, and hopefully they'll dry out and be dry by sleeping in my sleeping bag all night. So that's always an option. The only thing I have here is my brand new Xped Sinmat HL winter medium wide sleeping pad. And this is a winter sleeping pad. It has a R value of 5.2. keeps you very warm, insulates you from the ground, which steals your heat. Much better than my Neo Air does, my Sea to Summit Neo Air that I have. I also like it because it is kind of curved and it's wider. So I can keep my hands and my arms on the pad without them hanging off the side or falling off. And because it's slightly curved in the middle and it has these little grippy dots on it, I don't slide as much. Doesn't mean I don't slide off, because I have slid off on this, but it generally keeps you a little bit more in the middle. It is also thicker when it's fully inflated. I believe it's 3 inches thick. So it's about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch thicker than my Neo Air. Not to mention the greater insulation value. So this is made for the winter, and I'm expecting this will help keep me warm on the trail in the cold weather. You know, if you're hot, you can always open up your sleeping bag and cool off. If you're cold, you got to put on more stuff or keep warm somehow. And there's a limit to how warm you can keep with putting more clothes on, you know. So that's that. I also, along the same line, I will be bringing my Reactor sleeping pad liner. And I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, it will help keep me warm and lower the useful temperature that sleeping bag that I'm taking works to. So they estimate, I think it adds like 8 to 10 degrees that you can stay warmer in. I'm not expecting it to get super cold. You know, I'm planning on the 20s or 30s. My bag is rated for 20, which means to me it's good around 30 degrees. So this will lower it to around the 20 degree mark, which is possible. Temperatures could be very cold. I don't know what I'm going to have at night. I just want to be prepared. So like I said, I can always open up the sleeping bag to cool off. Secondly, the liners in the sleeping bags mostly are like, 7D or 10D nylon fabric. They're very plasticky feeling. They don't feel very comfortable on you and your skin. And the sleeping bag, gets that. If you start sweating, it just doesn't feel good. So having this liner in there gives it a more comfortable cloth feeling and makes it more enjoyable to be in the bag while you're in it. In addition to adding the extra temperature that you can use it at. So that's a good thing there. The last thing I'm bringing is my Enlightened Equipment sleeping bag. So like I said, this is a 20 degree bag. Like this bag, I probably should get a better compression sack for it, but this is working for now. And I've used this bag several times. I like it. It's comfortable for me. It does keep me very warm. Like I said, with a 20 degree rating, I figure that for me is around the 30s that I'm comfortable in it. With clothes and everything, I'll lower that. And with the sleeping pad combination, along with the Reactor liner, I feel I can easily go down into the teens and probably be quite warm. And if I put my clothes on, I can lower that even more, keeping warm. So that's my plan for keeping myself warm at night when the temperature really drops. And that's going to be it for inside the bag. I do have my Z-Pack liner in there to keep everything dry. It's DCF, so even if the bag gets totally soaked, none of the stuff inside, like my sleeping bag and my pad, my liner, all that will get wet. And another thing is that I'm planning, like let's say it rains one day and my tent is wet, I will either put it in the outside pocket where it can drip outside, but because this is not waterproof, it could drip on, it could wet the contents inside. So I want to have that liner, or I will stick it in its own bag where it will hopefully contain the water until I can get somewhere and open it up and let it dry out during the day, if that's even a possibility. I'm going to just turn this around briefly so you can see what I have. On the left shoulder strap, I will be keeping my Garmin InReach Explorer. I take this camping with me everywhere. It's been on every hike I've been on in the last several years, probably 4 to 5 years since I purchased it. I just upgraded to a yearly policy, an annual policy, because it's a little cheaper. So it's costing me about $20-something a month, down from like $37 a month. So they did lower their plans recently. I like the full-size one rather than the mini. The mini is nice. If I was buying one, I might buy it. I wish this had a touchscreen. It would be easier. You still got to move the keys like the old style way of doing it and spell out each word to do it. But the larger screen does, in fact, make it easier to see and read the text. And it does link up with other devices through Bluetooth, but it's limited because it's an older version. It's not as good as the new ones are with using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I generally find I don't the battery power on this lasts about 4 to 5 days now, because I'm not using it as much. Since I got my Garmin Instinct watch, I generally look at the watch for my mileage every day and how I'm doing, so I don't turn this on and off as much. So I noticed that because I'm not using the screen as much, the battery power is lasting me a lot longer. So I'm using less battery power, so I don't need to charge this up except maybe once every 4 to 5 days. It uses about 15 to 20% per day, so I can generally go 5 days with it. So that's a good thing on that. The only other things I'm carrying would be in my pockets. Generally, my right pocket, I have another thing to clean my glasses. I will probably put my headlamp in here. I'm sorry, that's my right side. On the left side, I generally put snacks for the day, whatever I'm going to eat. So I'll have, like, my protein bars in there, my flavoring for my drinks. Whenever I stop to filter, I generally add flavoring. My electrolyte powders all go in my left pocket. So while I'm walking, I can open up that pocket and get whatever I need. My right pocket generally is stuff that I might need for the day, but not necessarily food. I usually have my headlamp in there always, so if anything happens, it starts getting dark, I can grab my headlamp, throw it on, and hike with it or see what I'm doing. I always know where it is. I also have a little knife that I put in there. I finally found my little knife. It was missing, along with my stick pick. I couldn't find the knife. I found the knife in the bottom of my pack when I was looking through it, so it just needs to be cleaned a little bit. But I generally take this, a small knife. It's all I need is to cut food and open packages, and cut maybe KT tape. I'm generally not doing any heavy cutting, and this is a small Gerber micro knife basically, and it does the job for me. I'm also taking, this is a tripod and a phone mount. So this screws on to the bottom. So I'll be taking this small, it's an aluminum mount. It's a tripod in its own right. It can stand on its own, but not as stable. But it does have a threaded portion in the bottom that I can hook this up to my tripod. And as I used in my other gear videos, this is able to support my cell phone even with the case on it, which is a problem for these larger cell phones. They're heavier, and you generally find that they're very hard. My last one, I couldn't keep it in the case. I had to take it out of the case to put it onto the mount. And the problem with that is that when it falls, it has no protection anymore, and it generally tends to break. And this screws in, and it's able to hold the good positive firm, and I'm able to hold my thing, and I can move it side to side, any other angle I want, and it's gonna be easy for me to use it while I'm hiking and record myself or someone else. And like I said, with these legs extending, I can get a little bit more reach and be able to record stuff and take a wider view. So it's multifunctional. It can work on its own, or it can work with the tripod. This is a older version of the Black Diamond Storm. It uses 4 AAA batteries. These batteries I've used already on the hike. I'm debating about whether replacing them. I'll probably buy some more batteries, maybe some lithium batteries. They seem to do a little bit better in the cold weather. Batteries are a problem in cold weather for everything. My cell phone, your headlamp, everything. The cold affects them. They don't produce the energy as well because everything slows down. You can see the, unfortunately, the elastic is kind of getting a little warped. It's old. I have this, I think, 4 years now or 5 years now. I have several headlamps. This seems to be my go-to one. I seem to like it the best. It has red and white lights, LEDs, and it's dimmable on both. So I really like that. It's good for night hiking. It has enough power that I can see while night hiking. I've used it to night hike a couple of times on the Foothills Trail. So I'm going to take this with me. I'll probably bring a spare set of batteries just to make sure. Speaking of batteries and power, I am now planning on taking 2 separate battery banks. This one is my Anchor. It's a PowerCore 26,800 milliamps. But because the first part of the trip, I'm planning on doing 8 days, I don't think this will last to charge my cell phone every day. I might get 5 charges or 6 charges out of it. It's a 5,000 milliamp battery that's in my phone. I don't expect it to be dead, but if I start shooting video and then trying to edit every night and upload, I'm going to go through that power really, really quick. So I figure I might need to charge it at least halfway. I don't think this will have enough power along with my watch, which I need to charge every day also. And then occasionally, once or twice, I'll have to charge my GPS, and I don't expect to have to charge this at all, but I may have to charge it once by the time I reach, maybe in town, and I'll have to charge it another day because it's expected to get 80 hours. We'll see if that's true. Listening to podcasts, I'm not going to listen to them all the time, but I discovered the joy of listening to them, and it does pass the time, so I'll do that. So I've decided to bring an additional 10,000 milliamp. It's a RAV Power. I'm sorry, this is a 20 milliamp RAV Power charger. So altogether, I thought it was 10. Shows you what I know. So I'm basically walking around with about 4,600. I'm sorry. So carrying both of these now will give me about 46,000 milliamps. It's probably way too much, but it means that I can go through the whole trail, or at least those 8 days, not having to worry about not editing a video or cutting my video short or worrying about running out of power and not getting things. So that's the price, I guess, for making the videos for the channel. I'd rather have extra power to edit. I'm going to visit AT&T in the next day or so, hopefully, and I'm going to try and find out if I can upgrade my package to unlimited data for at least a month or two so that I can upload if and when I have reception to YouTube, so I can put a video out almost every day. I'll probably be like 1 day behind. It's hard to edit on the phone sometimes, but I'm getting better at it, I think. And obviously it's something I can do and I would like to do. So the big question will be if I have good reception so that I can upload the video. I may have to wait till I get to the top of a mountain and end up hitting a cell tower to get reception. And obviously, depending on where I am at night, which is generally when I'm going to cut the videos up and edit them, that will be the telling tale, because I would probably do it at night while in the tent and then let it upload if I can, if I have reception. If not, what I'll have to do is probably, try to send it out when I get to a mountaintop or something like that. Depending on the quality of the video, I have noticed it takes sometimes 2 to 3 hours to upload, and that's just way too long for me to be stationary loading up. So I may have to wait until I get good reception. And, if I'm able to post, I'm able to post. If not, then it'll be a day or two behind more. If not, when I get to Heflin, I'll probably be staying in a hotel, and I will upload several videos then and just time them to come out, a day apart or so. So there'll be hopefully several videos coming out during the hike, and then after that I may take a little break when I come back, and then I'll post videos after that. So that's my gear that I'm planning on taking. Hopefully it's not too long. I'm going to edit it down a little bit, and we'll see how this goes. But I don't think I've forgotten anything. Hopefully I haven't. I probably won't make any changes to my major equipment. The only thing that is still up in the air is really if I'm going to take these boots or not. I'm going to try them out in the next day or two, wear them, maybe do a little hike locally, see how they're doing, and I'll decide whether I'm going to keep them or return them. I do have a pair of Salomons already, but they're a size 11.5, and they're actually feeling tight on me lately. So I bought these 12s, and I'm really hoping that the 12s will do the trick, because I've had a lot of problems with my toes hitting the toe box in the front. And my nails have turned black and blue, but I haven't lost any. So I'm hoping this does the trick, and this will keep me moderately dry if I go through light water. I'm not expecting, obviously heavy rain, but I really love the quick lay system on the Salomons. That's a real draw to me. I really like that. So I was happy to be able to find, boots or, basically 3/4, shoes or boots that have the quick lay system. So I'm trying to keep with that. I just find them really convenient. You don't have to worry about them breaking. I've never had one break on me, never had them undo themselves. And as long as you tuck them in pretty well, they don't get caught on anything when you're hiking. So those are all positives for me. And it's my first pair of Gore-Tex. So we'll see how that goes. So more than likely, I'll take these shoes with me on my trip. I may just change the inserts on the inside and put a new insert in so I can get a little more support. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, got something out of it. Leave any thoughts, comments, opinions, or suggestions, maybe some gear I'm not taking and maybe I should, or something I haven't thought of, or maybe that I forgot to cover, in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing, please consider giving it a like or a thumbs up if you like this video. And additionally, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoy these videos, you're watching them, just click the button subscribe. It helps me out, and it lets me know that you're out there and we're doing this together. You know, I may be the person that's going out and doing the activities and hiking, but you know, when I see people watching or comments, or sometimes I get emails personally, I do have my email in there. It's pretty positive, and it does motivate me, and it lets me know that I'm doing this for a reason, not just for myself, but for all of us. Hopefully I'm helping other people learn, and I'm learning as well from you and from my videos as well in my travels. So as I go out and about, I learn and grow and hopefully become a better hiker. So thank you once again for taking time out of your day. Till we meet again. Even though I have a sleeping bag with a closed toe box or foot box, whatever it is, a toe box is on a shoe.